also for with instructional technology at the Staten Island Commons at Juniata College.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
You
I have
can't
my
hear me?
hearing- Right.
So there we go. I'll project and look this way.
Thank you.
So last year I was asked to come in and give a brief overview on generative AI. This year I've been asked back to give an update. So I'm going to use a couple slides like I did last year. So a few of these, don't panic, it's not going to be completely redundant, but I also didn't know who I was going to come in. So my big goal today, and you'll notice that anytime you see the little notebook at the bottom, that's a review slide, that's a cue for me to keep moving so I don't linger on it, is if you have brought your lunch, you get a bottle of water or a snack from the back, we've made a good day. So the rest of this, it's all vanilla from here on out. So as we go through, if you have any questions, I'll try to help. I am not an expert per se. I am learning just like you all, and I'll keep going through. The one thing that I do want to leave you with when we're done, hopefully it'll give you some more thought on some things, and this is how I know if I've done my job well, is how does this thing called artificial intelligence affect you? And that may be, for some of you, very fearful. In other cases, you may go, I never knew that. That's how this is being used. And it may actually excite you with some of the places where it comes in. And if I can at least give you all the facts and let you decide, again, it's a great day. So this just came out. So I read a lot. I thought this was very, very interesting. So the title of this that caught my eye came out from the Pew Research Center. This was just last week, so this is hot off the release. They're saying 34% of U.S. adults have used ChatGPT, which has doubled since 2023. So one of the facts that we have to remember is that ChatGPT was first released in November of 2022. So we're really at year number 3 in change of this type of technology being available to the world. You may ask yourself, well, who are those folks? So you can see the trend growth over here on the right. Again, this is the first part where you go, for me, that's a really fascinating number. For you, you may be going, whoa, Nelly.
Yes. What is ChatGPT?
We're actually going to back up to hold that thought. Just know the term, because my 2 slides in, you're going to go, whoa, Nelly. But remember the name. Know that this one, it took the world on fire. Chat, and we'll go in and we'll actually demo some of this if you like, so you can see it. I'm just not going to give you lip service. With much trepidation, we will launch and go in and try some things so that you can also see it. Dum bum bum. All right. So one of the pieces over here just to think about is if we look at the age group, which was the one that was very interesting to me, and this is where there could be lies, pardon my pun, damn lies in statistics. We have folks 18 to 29 using this technology, and it looks like it's off the charts and it's launching up. So one of the questions that I'm hoping that you'll ask yourself or think about is that because of the circumstance or the situation that they've been put in, or is it because they really want to do it? Where one of the pieces I'll give you to sort of balance that out, I also read recently an article, one of the schools basically adopted the use of generative AI in the classroom. Students revolted and said, that is not why we've come to college. We've come here to learn how to think. This is not helping us because it's too much of a, basically, a crutch for us to stand on. I thought that was an interesting twist on this whole space. So is this really due to the fact that all we're seeing is this boom of the jobs that are coming up will all be associated with generative AI or ChatGPT, which we'll explain here in a second, and they hear the buzzword, or is it really because it's that good? I don't know yet, but we keep going. Again, as started out, very much a beginner's mind. I do not claim to be an expert. I do have some knowledge. I'm actually sitting on a steering committee right now. What I know now is going to probably quadruple here in the next 4 weeks. I'm sitting on a committee at the college to figure out what the college is going to do with generative AI, how does it fit in, and those types of things. So this is an active conversation, not just here, K through 12, higher elementary schools, high schools, as well as what does it mean in the job market. Again, I'll touch on a little bit about that. For the last couple is I'd like you to remember that it's a really simple process. This is one of the big takeaways. Whenever we use this term of generative AI, or you hear AI, it goes back to what many of you, even in the punch card days, would remember how a computer works. There's an input, we have to process it, and we get an output. Those rules haven't changed. That is the name of the game when we're talking about computer science, or this place of AI. Someone still has to type the stuff up. We put it in a place where it does something with the information that we do, and then we get an output. The thing that's changed, and we'll talk a little bit about this in a slide that's coming up, is the speed by which this happens. One of the other big takeaways is we'll hear the term AI, artificial intelligence. As I started out, what is ChatGPT? So that is an acronym for generative processing. I forget what the T stands for. But the idea is that when you type something into the block, the Borg out here will give you a response. From that response, you can ask another question. It will give you another response. Just like we're having a conversation, that's what that technology allows you to do. Ask a question, get a response, fine-tune it or broaden it, all within the piece. Now, I'm also old enough to remember, it's probably even down here, I don't know if we do Library of Congress, or that lovely thing that we all learned how to do, the Dewey Decimal System, and the 3x5 note card that had to be precisely laid out in the format that you had to do research. I still have nightmares, Mrs. McNair. I did not miss that. Those research skills still apply here. We still have to go in and say, what is a primary source? What's a secondary source? Is this a valid source? Do we trust it? And in some cases, that's the piece that is very much missing from this component. I'll let you decide as we continue with the discussion or the thought process. Okay? ChatGPT, in this notion of being able to do a post a response and get one back, is an example of artificial intelligence. It is only one small piece of a whole bigger world. And I'll give you a couple what that looks like here in a second in the three broad areas so that you can have a sense. And here we go. The first one under this artificial intelligence one is called machine learning. And when we think about that, that's really how do we take data, have the computer come up, think about those inputs, and make decisions. We talk about autonomous cars, the Teslas. They have to make decisions on the fly. That's really not available to you and I right now, right? That's where we go in with those pieces and parts. The other one is, back here, discriminative. And what we mean by that is, some of you may have seen the ads for Grammarly. As you're typing, it prompts you, did you do the grammar right? Did we do an autocorrect? Oh, here's a prompt. You may want to use this in your Word now, which is all being embedded inside Microsoft Word, Google Documents, if you're using that. That's discriminative AI. We've given you a set of rules that we have to follow. The Corbett's little blue book for English, that's the same rules that they're engaged with. So it's very condensed, bundled within barriers that we know that it's there. This last space that we're looking at is one called generative. Whereas this has solid rules and our machine learning has solid rules, generative AI is a little bit different. Because remember, it's relying on us to ask it a question, to say what fits the best, to return the response. It's generating that dialogue as we go, hence the name I will show you a bunch of examples that are made for generative AI. You can use those types of skills right now. Unless you're a guy that has lovely stress highlights and long locks of ponytails, many of you may not get into the machine learning or even that discriminative AI piece because that's meant to be in that comp sci computer piece. However, generative AI, whether it's in ChatGPT, I'll show you a thing called Firefly, that's with Adobe, Copilot, Gemini, I'll walk you through all of those, are over in this space that's open to you because of the way it goes. Okay. Since I glazed most of you over like I do with my students, last part as we go through, as I started, remember, if I can walk away and say this can be a friend or a foe or where you want to hang your hat on the scale, good day. All of this, a couple more slides here, based on the algorithm. This is the other key piece about this. As we started out, we had a conversation about the folks that raised, basically went in and swindled grandparents because they were able to steal their grandchild's voice, go in and say, here it is, and they sent them money, and they made a loot. That's based on an algorithm. So one of the big questions that's also pervasive throughout all of this is, when we think about these algorithms or patterns of doing things, is there a bias? Who's the person that put that information in the system to be able to ask the question and get it back and forth? Do we trust it? Is it a vetted source? Or is it some guy with a ponytail and a Grateful Dead t-shirt just making up stuff in his basement, posting it so that it gives this bias of information back and forth? Again, the world's about to change your whole thought process because, unfortunately, from last year to this year, the world has changed. Some of you are librarians, you like libraries, you're here. I showed this slide last year. I love this slide. One, because I made it up. Two, because it resonates. I'm a 70s kid, so I grew up with TV will rot your brain. I would remember sitting huddled around the black and white TV that went to the big colored console TV, and it was always going to rot my brain. I think I made out okay. I also lived through Gen X. We don't even want to talk about that because that's just the space, but we had this notion of, the television is here. Then we got into the 90s where everyone said, you want to kill your televisions, bad, bad, bad. Let's go into the internet. And then ironically, most of my professional career, I've heard this slogan, the internet will rot your brain. Now, I think it's a very cyclical interact. Very funny how we've come back and we keep going. I would purport the only thing that's different is how fast we get information and the manner by which it's disseminated. We've always had the Encyclopedia Britannica, and you probably still could find them here in the hallowed halls of Huntington Library, or maybe not. We're all still watching TV, but it may be now streamed via our friend, the internet and YouTube, but it's still there. We go back and watch the reruns, we want to watch Gunsmoke, we want to watch the Andy Griffin Show, what have you. The modalities just changed. Here's where that part is. We also look to these folks. I love to go to bookstores and drink coffee. One of my favorite pastimes. I work in a library, or at least part of the building's a library, so I have to say I do have some love for some librarians. So there you have it. And I also go and ask people, how do you do things? Because I'm a people person and I still have that spot. And hopefully I see a lot of heads nodding going, yes. We can see that the story hasn't changed as much. Again, what this technology does is it just connects us faster to these different spots and places. And of course it all boils down to the need for speed.
Thank you.
All right. Here we go. This is where you hold on tight, Nelly. Generative AI and ChatGPT. The term ChatGPT is over here. This is the spot that the solution allows us as a person to talk to all of the computer stuffs. Okay? the window. That's normally done with what's called a bot. Little window comes up, you type something in, it comes back and forth. There's a whole lot of stuff that happens on this other side, and this is where the machine learning and that computer science AI thing. So corpus is just basically going to take a bunch of documents, put it together, and that's going to become the corpus of knowledge. This piece, the large language models, or LLM, is the engine or the processing piece that says, I'm going to look at all of this, figure out where the stuff is indexed. If you want to use the library, it's able to say, this should be in the Dewey Decimal System under this code, on this shelf, and in this book. So that when you ask it, it says, this is the frequency by which that person goes to the shelf. It's basically a digital librarian. If you can take that concept away from you, congratulations, you have got ChatGPT and that area under wraps.
Can you say all that in a different way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of documents. I give them to you. At this spot in here, you go pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4. This is the topic, topic, topic. You do all the sorting and put it together. Then you go through that section and you count how many times does it say coffee. In this stack, how many times does it say cappuccino? And in this stack, how many times does it say espresso? So it's weighted. So that when this gentleman says, I would like a cup of coffee, you would go, I need to go to this sorted pile that says coffee, and he likes Maxwell House at 9 a.m. in the morning. And all of his friends have that because that's what they weighted on those responses. Does that help, or did I lose you?
Sort of. Thank you.
What we get to hear is this fact of just like me asking you the question is done through a computer interface. It's done through a little window where you type the question of, what coffee should I drink at 9 a.m. in the morning? Because this is all tagged with 20 people that drink coffee at 9 a.m. in the morning. It's used this data to say, you should drink a Maxwell House cup of coffee at that time. Just like when you look at the rating systems on Amazon and you go, what book should I buy? You could easily walk downstairs and ask your friendly librarian, which we hope you do. That's what we like librarians, and going in to say, what book do you get off the shelf? I'm really interested in detective mystery books, and I like this style, and in this era, maybe it's Agatha Christie. Some folks would have a revolt when I say, maybe it's James Patterson, and that's when the mic drops. Right, sure. You know, and at that piece, that's what this is doing with all of that data that it has. It's picking and choosing and being that concierge, if you will, and coming it out.
So is Google a chat GPT?
Close.
Okay.
We're going to see that here in a second. So I'm going to make you believers in how this works. But again, here's the input, here's the processing, and here's the output. Now this, as I can tell, because I have a prompt here, worked really well last year. And everybody went, yay, Tom, we've got it. Well, for the most part. Unfortunately, right after I came, this time of year, the world got crazy. Because the folks that are behind this came up with a technology called MCP that allows each one of those pieces, if you will, that library of knowledge, to talk to another, and send information back and forth. Whoa. So all of a sudden, we're not talking about the one librarian, or the two librarians we have here. We're talking about the thousands of librarians that I can talk to in a matter of seconds to go through and process that information and give an answer. This was huge in the industry. The second thing that happened, but the good news is, if you take all of it out, it's still an input, it's still a process, and it's still an output. We've just done it faster with bigger bodies of knowledge. This continues to grow even as I speak. When you hear the challenges of AI with the environment, This is the technology. They have now data centers that are doing nothing but processing at the demise of kilowatts per hour, power, land size, how big these data centers have to be to compute the data. This is the stuff that you hear about in that machine learning spot, which is AI, but not available to you. So again, as you hear these news things, this is a huge space with all of the parts. All right, I'm gonna pause there and look. Folks still haven't gone to sleep yet. That's outstanding. I'm still batting 100 here, better than class. So the other part is the first piece with all of this that I want to give you, this is new, is the idea of what is truth. All right, so back here, we can have these pods that are doing the things on their own. It just so happens that some creative researcher came up with this idea. I'm going to come out of my presentation just for a second. And in this space, window, I'm going to jump around a little bit here. We can actually go in and this is a prompt. This is what ChatGPT would give you. But we can ask a question. Describe for me, I can't spell, for me the history of Huntington County, Pennsylvania. Okay, seems pretty straightforward. This will actually go out and battle between two different engines when we hit go, and we're going to see if they come up with the same answer. So here we go. Here's contestant 1, and here's contestant 2. Huh. Interesting. So you can see very quickly, I can try to make that a little bit bigger for you if you want. Some of the information that's found in here is probably pretty cool, but they're not the same. You've got this whole nice dialogue over here on the side. Who do you trust?
Well, either you have to analyze all of it and then check it against other sources.
And the heavens go, ah! Spoken like a true librarian. Absolutely correct. And this is the part that's so important with our digital literacy today. Not only for the youth, students, for yourselves, of knowing that there could be that much variance just by typing the same thing in. All of those things that we all suffered through. Those index cards, Dewey Decimal System, going back through, finding the books, citing the books, realizing that, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that because that was written in Bad Magazine, not a real good resource probably to put on a research paper.
So much fun.
You make that call. So again, great way to go in and look at yourself. My intro to the generative AI piece. Yes?
Isn't this in some way how we've been using computers in our simple-minded way, asking questions long before I heard the term AI?
Yes. So the piece that's a little bit different, let me see where I'm over here. Just 1 second so I don't get ahead of myself. Okay, this will be fun, so I'll answer the question and then we'll go back to here. The difference is we had at one point in time someone that vetted the information. We went to the librarian, we trusted the people, the search engines that were doing it. We would ask the question, we would get it back. This notion of not in this particular case, but as we were going through with the ChatGPT spot, when I open that up and we see it, it'll actually take then the responses that you type in, reanalyze that, and put it back into the queue. So based on your knowledge and what you type back and forth, it continues to build its knowledge base at the same time, whereas what we're used to is, we went to the Encyclopedia Britannica. I remember that was the best trip ever to go to my grandparents' house. They had the whole series. You would go in, you would look at the pictures, you would find the stuff. It was great. That didn't change until the next edition came out. This idea of space of generative AI, it's looking at it, taking your responses, your insights, rolling that back in, and continue to building that knowledge piece over and over and over again, fine-tuning it, and that's the difference. Whereas things are static, this is a very dynamic space of you're going in and honing those questions and those points. For the powers of good, that's fantastic. Also in the powers of not so good, where you're infusing things, whether that's your own personal bias or other information that may be erroneous, not so good. And that's the fight right now in this space between use of AI and how it's put out in the spot. So, okay, so other fun piece, okay, you're gonna
So
ask.
there's like no way, so like when I used to teach, we never would let anybody use Wikipedia as a source because that was kind of like, you know, people can change that, and but like there's not even a source from where you're getting this stuff from there, is there?
So this is when all the librarians have a heart attack, and all the people that say, where did you get the source?
Yeah.
There isn't a source because it came from the masses. That's that decision part. Now, I'm going to show you here in a minute a Google towards the end. One of the other things that just came out is, this is great. This is really not tangible. This is out in the ether somewhere. Google released a program called Google LM that allows you, as the teacher, to take all of your material for the semester, if you will, dump it into Google and say summarize. It will look at your stuff, not the rest of the world, what you put in. Summarize using all of that processing ability that we talked about earlier, and look at that data and say, this is what I see. Crazy. So when you start looking at it as a power for education, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I have a struggling student that can't get the information, and in 5 seconds I can say, here's my lecture, and it comes back and says, here's a summary of the key points. Especially in this time period where we may not have para-eds, we may not have some of the support staff that go into schools. If you can give that to your students, do you win? I might hedge the bet on that. If you have that student that can't speak in front of a class, they're just an introvert, very little social skills, but this is the way they communicate and they exist. Trust me, oh no, they exist. You can provide for them that way to ask questions. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting spot.
That might help students who are having trouble, but the other students, do they ever learn how to take notes during the lecture? I know. I'm sorry.
Hold that thought. Let me get through because I got a whole sermon that we won't keep going. All right. So this is your first little jump into what this notion of ChatGPT, generative AI, can do. Yeah.
I just know in medical things, it's really bad when you're trying to find out like physical therapy or a certain medication, and you can get 15 different answers, and it's very confusing.
So yeah, so if you take that space, that's another interesting spot where this comes in. Let's say you've come up with a lingua franca for your place. You're a medical technician, you know, in your whatever, these are the words that you use because you're a specialist. How cool would that be to be able to ask the question and it comes back with the response that's consistent over and over and over again, especially in this charged state of liability and other things like that, or in a help desk. I mean, I've worked in technology a number of years. I could probably tell you the number of times I've said, I haven't said have you rebooted the computer, but did you check the mouse? Did you do this? The rules are all the same, guys and gals. They get faster, they get shinier, they get brighter, but at the same deal, you have to hit the power button. You still have a media that you have to put in, and the rules are all the same. You just swap out the device and the media. That's great tools to be able to empower people to be able to solve their problems with that question and answer. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done it? We're going to take a look at this a little bit deeper, but I do have, because I saw this also right afterwards, was a presentation. There's a program called Adobe Express, which I'm going to show you. And this is where all the folks in the audience say, woohoo! So to have some fun and make you believers, what I did is I typed in some words. And I'll even give you the piece of some song lyrics. With those song lyrics, these are the photos that, based on the lyrics, it generated for me.
What song, huh?
Well, so can you guess what song it is?
Wow, thanks much.
Okay, so take a good mental picture of this one, because I have 3 of them. Okay? Here we go. You may know this one. Now. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Sing her out. Pat her out. Thank you.
Just a small town.
Right, so we got it. I ask you, is that the same feeling in these pictures that you got from those lyrics?
No, I don't see Detroit at all.
Okay. Hold that thought. Round 2.
Sail away.
I'm close.
Is this another song?
Another song. They're all songs.
Southern Cross.
Oh, wow. That's something to give me. Exactly right. It's Southern Cross by Crosby, Stills.
Wow. How does that go? Sing it. I love stuff. I love them.
I can tell you the chord progressions,
I
but
know-
this
I
guy
know.
doesn't sing. All right, so, again, great guess. Are those the word? For me, no. That's not what it conjured up. But after I saw it, I was like, okay, maybe. Okay, the last one is going to be a tricky one, but it's very timely. We'll see how many folks are here. A little darker. Ooh. Yeah, look at that evil. Ooh. In honor of the father of heavy metal who just passed away from Black Sabbath, the song War Pigs, Ozzy Osbourne. So, I ask you, what do you think these generative pieces are good at?
What is the question again?
So where do you think these tools like this, and I'll show you how I created this in a second, where do you think those tools excel and will really fail? That's a part that I want you to think about as we go through a couple other pieces.
Well, they can give you good ideas. If I don't get my answer, I just type it in again or say it in again. And I might do it 2 or 3 times until I get a reliable source. Democracy Now, CNN, something that I recognize rather than truthbehold.com,
Right. So I think the other piece that I'm gunning for is we are not to the point where it can be creative. It can help us with creativity, but to be able to envision what it is that may be in our minds, we still need that human factor.
It's not envisioning an emotion.
Not a vision emotion.
Could you put in, like, if you have, like, go to a doctor and you type in all kinds of different symptoms that are, like, really unusual and rare kind of thing, and you start typing in every single thing, it could give you ideas.
It could give you ideas. Exactly.
Ideas.
And then we're going to go back through that.
Yes.
So here we go. A couple things. I was like, this is too good not to pass up. So you get to see unfold me using AI for part of the presentation. Can you provide me with a list of the most commonly used AI applications for the summer of 2025? Just because I was like, I could go look this up, but this would be great for the presentation. Google, Gemini, what do you come up with? It gave me those. And then I went, I wonder if it could do this. So then I said, I'll buy that. That looks pretty good. What about, can you make a mind map, which is a visual representation, kind of more in vogue concept maps. You guys may know those terms. And I said it should be this size. You should have this. And when you present it out to me, it should have something that makes it feel like artificial intelligence. That was all of a hot 10 seconds to type that in. Maybe 20 if I was doing the cut and peck. It spit that back to me. So from before, some of us may have spent a lot of time figuring out how to come up with an image, how to put the graphic, how to put all of that in that met that criteria, and that did it less than 20 seconds. Does it have value? You decide. So we'll actually take a look at that. The program that I use to do this is a thing called Adobe Firefly. So we'll actually go there. We did this last year as well. And let me get my mouse out here. So the reason that we talk about this one, this is available to most all of our creative folks. Adobe is a suite that's been in the industry for years. If you're an Adobe subscriber, you have this. It's for free. They just roll it in. So, this is where the audience gets to participate. Let's make an image. Cook something up. What do you want to see? I have to type, so go slow.
Beaches.
What was it?
Go ahead, what?
Beaches.
Peaches, all right.
Beaches.
Beaches, all right. So we have to have an image with beaches
At sunrise.
at sunrise.
Yeah.
What else you guys? In the U.S.
With birds
In
flying.
the United States, oh, this could get interesting. With
High tide.
birds flying.
Or low tide with shells.
Oh, let's try that.
Low tide with
With at low tide with shells at low tide.
Yeah, that's a
Shells.
different.
Okay.
Wow.
I hit enter for generate, and all of a sudden, it will take and go out. And here in a moment, so I'm on one line, which I think I am.
Wow.
There's the pictures.
That's the amazing thing that can happen.
Okay. So, do any of these match the thought that you had?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, pretty good. So for me, putting together a presentation that did just what you did, and say, I'd like to have that as a background, 10 seconds. Saved me a lot of time. Love it. Use it.
Shells.
I'm sure before at this end, you're going to talk about abuse of this whole.
Yep.
Good.
So one of the other pieces that we can get into, and this is where it drives my colleagues that are involved in the graphic arts crazy, is I can now type in and pick this picture and tell it to switch it to the beach at night. And it'll change all of that for me automatically. Now, from a business standpoint, if you think about what that means, is I could walk into a customer and say, here is your beach house. What color would you like the beach house? Blue.
Purple.
Purple, and it would change it for me. It'll draw that picture for me, so I have that idea of variance, and I can adapt and figure out right up front what should this thing look like before I hit produce. From a manufacturing industry standpoint, hands down, that is fantastic to be able to know exactly what that person wants and they can see it that fast. From a creative lens, I don't know. I grew up in a house where I was drawing and lettering, doing calligraphy by the time I was 8 because my dad was an art major. I didn't know that people didn't grow up with quill pens in their house or learn that everybody knew Old English and how to do script writing and the difference. What did I know?
So what happens to the graphic artists in
I
10
was
years?
just gonna say, there goes all those jobs.
Hold that thought. Just love it. This is okay. All right. So this is that notion of generative AI. Here's the prompt down at the bottom. Let's see if this will let me do it. I know last year we did this. We could actually add to it with a sea turtle.
At night.
You missed the T.
Sea turtle at night.
Sunrise. Yeah,
Foreground.
sunrise.
Let me see if it goes foreground.
Because now you.
Okay, so we get to keep these. Here's the next version, and the next version, and the next version. So you can see,
Wow.
okay, so this is what the buzz is about with this idea. And this is just doing the pictures because that's the one that lands, and you go, that's crazy. Now, the piece that's behind here as well is this engine's not just working with images, It's also working with video. It's also working with audio. So just as fast as we did this with a picture, I can do that with a video file. I don't have the license in this case, but that's in the suite to do. Okay?
But this, excuse me, this isn't creating drawings. This is looking up existing. This is stealing someone else's copyright, correct?
There's no copyright because this
Well,
was
maybe it's from a
generated
book.
based on the idea
Oh,
of
okay.
this is what the masses, just like you all went, oh, that's gorgeous because that's where I want to be. That's a lovely beach. Thousands of other people have said that's what the beach means to me, and I want to be there walking along, looking at seashells. So through that experience, it's able to say, tag, tag, tag. That's the picture you want. There you go. And there's no way to cite that because it came from all of those generative spots.
So it took all the elements that you described, pulled each one of them out of
Yeah.
that big pile of stuff.
Great.
and
So
put it
last
together.
year, the audience was a little more, I think, let me see if I have it. They were a little more rambunctious than what you all were. Let's see if I can find it. This is me playing with a raccoon just to see if it appears. I don't see it. They wanted to see a garden gnome in Huntington with a horse. And it drew a picture of a garden gnome with a horse out back. It was priceless. I don't have it
What-
here.
Can
But
you go back there for just 1 second?
sure.
Middle to the, in the middle picture on far right, what was it? Create a video with what? On over.
What's it
What
say?
are those two?
Oh, so that was me playing. So what I wanted to see is I wanted a background for something. So I asked it using
Wow.
creating video that would color cycle using a Mandelbrot fractal. That's just a particular type of this display. My hope was that I had a license that would allow this to come in and do a just cycle. That took me 10 seconds to type that in. In the pro version of this, which the college didn't license it because they knew I'd be going nuts with this, but I'm going to show you another one that the college didn't wrap me. That would be done and we'd be done with that. So if you think about that from a marketing standpoint, if you can detail this to say, I'd like to have a person walking down the beach with blah, blah, blah in the video, it will change all of that. Literally, then you could say, in the video that you gave me, I would like to make them wearing a yellow blouse. Boom, that fast. It redoes the whole thing for you. Yeah.
The hands. Now I'm sure you know, but I'm on Facebook for various business and things, and the internet, AI does not know how to draw hands. You can always tell false
Yep.
photographs,
Yep.
fake photographs, because their hands are weird. They even sometimes, if they have them draw like a cartoon or something, they'll put 3 legs,
Sure.
6 fingers.
So the piece that's different from that is, again, remember when you're asking it to draw, that's one thing. What we ask to do is give me an image,
Okay.
a photo. So it went out and said, again, let me look through. Do I have a picture of what hands look like that are open? 10 out of 10 Family Feud, boom. Survey says, here's the picture of the hands. That's the one you want because it matches. Take that one, I'm going to put it together with this, add a dash of this, put this in, and add this other piece, and voila. That's the picture that you get delivered. And because I've done that, I can't cite it.
You can't what?
I cannot put a citation on it because I generated that image from multiple sources to give you the finished product. All right, so here's one. Canva's views quite. We could say, create a poster to which will highlight the use of artificial intelligence in libraries. Okay. And we count on our fingers, go get a cup of coffee, maybe walk to the coffee pot, and we come back. And hopefully,
Why not just give me a minute?
it's going to generate the posters for us.
In the 90s, it used to take 20 minutes to download a website.
Yep. So here's what it suggested for us.
Wow.
Would you use all of those? I would use that like in a heartbeat. That took me one swig of coffee, a lot of hunting and pecking, and voila, it's done.
The tunnel.
So again, just to try to say in this creative space, this is where these tools are coming in. Canva is used in schools right now. Very, very popular. It was made for educators. It's just boomed. You can do AI for all of these as well as videos. Yes?
Could you add a robot, please, just so we see what it looks like? Underneath it says, add an illustration of a robot helping people find books.
Sure. All right, so now it's even suggesting for us that this is what you want to do. There you go. Fantastic. And we could keep going. And I really would like to have it with a modern color scheme. Yes, so let's do that. So this is just like candy, and it's that fast.
Thinking.
Boom,
That
there it
was
is.
a great term, thinking. I've
Now.
never seen a computer say thinking.
Mhm. And it made it so that it makes it feel like it's
I'll
talking.
do my
It's so
best
cool.
to capture your changes.
I'll get it. So this is what the buzz is about with this stuff, especially in the creative space. Time saver. Now, I have to come down. I have to know that this is what I'm looking for. And I will tell you what I see is that's a 2-column grid, that's a 4-column grid, that went over 2 columns and down 3. That is what we as an entity want to have in our brand. Only because I worked in a newspaper for years. My head is, every time I see it now, I cannot get it out. These are the columns on a page. Is there value in saying that's a really bad font? Because folks may not be
Can't
able to
read it.
Yes.
Well, the first one's so easy to read. The
Is
only
the-
one easy to read.
Correct. This may be what it is, but I'm
All
still
caps.
saying that idea of design principles. You can focus now not on the thing, but back on the process. And if you have folks that are willing to do that, and then we're going to loop it to education. I've got a few more for you. When we do it, then say, so I taught a class, it was about using algorithms, comp sci, 110. I can tell you that is one area where their AI has just blown up. I can ask Microsoft's client or Google's client to build me an application and it will do it. I actually have in here where I said build me a bingo style web page. I don't know if I still have it up here because I saw it and I said I have to check this out. I do not see it because I'm sitting right here. An interactive bingo game because I didn't want to code an interactive bingo game. That's kind of ridiculous right now. So I typed in, can you build me an interactive people bingo game because I want to be able to turn this over to our folks that are doing inbound with the students. And it built me an interactive bingo game that I now can click on each one of these. And if I hit randomize, when I send this out, it'll give each one of the people a random bingo card and we can play the game. That was a weeks-long probably programming for me to do that. I'm pretty good, but that's still till you get the graphics in and you get the thing and you turn it over to the person and they go, no, and just 5 minutes. I'll take it. That's great. Because one, they're going to throw it away. I know it. This is a one-hit wonder. I would put blood, sweat, and tears in this, but it's only going to be used once. Still doesn't mean that I don't know how to send this out to web servers and put it in the process. It just helped me and aided me get from point A to point B. Didn't even break a sweat with an item code. Now, the good news is I can read the code if I would look at it. If I wanted to change it, I could do it. So I could spend my time customizing, not building the framework. That is a reality right now in this coding space. So, kill 2 birds there with one
So
stone.
I have a question,
Yeah.
going back to your previous slide. It gave you 4 suggestions.
Mhm.
If you click on one of those, that's when you would start modifying it, like
You
you
can
did
keep
with
going
the
and
bingo?
modifying over and over.
It will just give you the
Yep.
one, or
Yep.
does
No,
it
you can
generate
go back
4 more?
4 more.
Okay.
just keeps blowing up bigger and bigger, broader, and those pieces and parts. Now, there is a couple other spots. I want to be mindful of your time. I can go all day. Wish I won't do that. Some of us remember this guy. Yay! The Wizard, Office 97. It was a dark time. Yeah, clip it. Oh, yeah. Our wizards back in the day with Microsoft Publisher and at that time period are no different than what Microsoft has done with this idea of a co-pilot. Think of it as a wizard on steroids. We actually have put the wizard out of a job. And I'll show you that here in a second. But if you can keep that thought with what I'm about to show you, rules are all still the same. We go in, and in this case, we like the internet and the Office version. Ta-da! All of a sudden, we're presented with, how can I help you? Oh, very good. I would like to build a spreadsheet that will track the time of my employees, let's say Bob, Susie, and John. Spell that right. Go. Okay. It just asked me a question. This is that chat part. It's saying, what do you want to do? Do you want to have the time in the break? So we can now say, employees have a 1 hour lunch break with 40-hour work week. Tracking daily hours. Let's see if it comes back. I don't know if this is going to go because I've never done this. Tracking daily hours. Boom. It's going to take everything that we did, analyze what I put into it. It's going to say, do I have enough information to build? This is the thinking, analyzing. And when we're done, it's going to build the spreadsheet for us. Just by asking us this question. Let me fix that. I have to do that. Okay, here we go. It's thinking.
What did you hit?
It just did it automatically. It wanted me to read it. So it's going to do it again, and eventually you'll have to take my word for it. Well, I know it's suspenseful. It will spit out the Excel spreadsheet that you can open up, and I'm hoping if it doesn't do it, there it is. It's ready. Download it here, and we can open it up, and there is the spreadsheet.
I love Excel.
So this just is your digital assistant to walk you through those things. So you may not be able to articulate the thing that you want, but you may have the process. They're now able to do this. One of the areas where it's...
Can you click on it? Can you click
Oh
on
yeah,
it?
sure, I can come back. So it actually saved it for me here.
Okay.
I actually asked it to do a thing, project management. It's a strategy that's using that. It uses a PERT algorithm. It went, I know what that is. I'll create it for you. Have a nice day. That saved me 3 hours of work to get that spreadsheet. Just because I asked. And because I asked it, it said, this is weighted. This equation is a weighted equation, and it gave me the response to go in and say, I'm going to give to you the secret sauce that I think that you want me to use. And if you don't like it, this is what you have to change. Breathtaking. How cool is that?
I think that Excel has an extra X at the end, so that means it was generated by AI.
No, the X is for a newer version. So that's the one that means that it can work online as well as offline.
Gotcha.
But good call. So my Excel may open up over here, and it did.
Oh my.
But there's the timesheet. So we could get in there and get really granular. So it did Susie and Bob, what days I could say these are the days of the week that I wanted to, and there's probably, there's the calculation. Ta-da!
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
Well, who's supposed
I
to
could
understand
never-
that? How do you
Well,
translate it
it's-
into
If you know Excel, you know how exactly what it's saying, and just, that's. the
And if you
reason.
don't,
I don't know, you
It
would
doesn't
have it.
matter.
you would
Yeah.
trust a
Yeah.
spreadsheet and have that.
That's crazy. that it
That's
has
the
a
moment that I
formula
was
for
looking
you.
for right there. All of the Microsoft
Wow.
products have that built into it now.
Really?
As of this year, not last year.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's in 1 year's time they unveiled this type of technology open to anybody that has the Microsoft subscription. Google is also doing the same thing if you're into Google with Google Gemini and the Google Docs and applications. The exact same thing that you can type that up. Now, one of the things that I will say just to be mindful is this did not work so well as what Google did. But of course, I was preparing for this and I said, that is unacceptable. So,
That's crazy.
we can actually go in here, and this is this part, try it out. It's Pro, I don't want to do Pro. I click along. I know when we're into the, back in, maybe to where I need to be.
Then you don't have to know that.
Up here in the corner, I don't want to do this. Sure, please do it for now. Try it out. You can ask it to summarize for you all the messages that you received from a person within the last week. Genius. That's what I'm trying to get to. And I tried it because I was like, no, it can't be that. No, it does. It is really that easy, and this is calling me because I'm not assigned, so I apologize. I failed on it. You'll have to take my word, Scout's honor, that when you're in here and you ask it to do it, it will do it. So I worked.
It's sort of there, isn't it?
Probably. Well, it was everything, but this is like actually a formal written report, completely broken out, saying on this date you said that you were going to do X, Y, and Z, and I went. Oh.
Is that why you get reminders, like, you're asked to respond to something or other? And does it keep track whether you do or not?
Depending on how, in the email, so again, this is where some of the algorithms come in. So if you're using Office or you're using Google, it's aware of the dates that come in on messages. So it actually will pull out a date and say you have something on this date, automatic reminder. It's able to do that based on the thing. So I apologize for that last piece. Did not expect that to happen, but I'm standing looking at the screen upside down, so it may be on me. That's Google Gemini when it comes in. So if you see those ads, that's the AI component for Google. My experience with it was much better. I tried it here. I failed miserably. This is what over here you can see catch up on emails from the last whatever. And it was like, no, you have to download the emails, upload the emails, and that was too much of a drag. Google did it all on the fly. I was like, no. So I just don't know which account I was in, but I won't bore you with juggling around with those pieces and parts. So a couple really quick things before I let you roll here. And we're almost at time. This is hot off the presses as of when I woke up this morning. So there is a movement by the folks that put together this ChatGPT. They bundled it under a concept called OpenAI. OpenAI is the company, product is ChatGPT. They've also launched a similar product called Deep Research. Deep Research will say, I'm going to quote, it was launched in February 5th of 2025, so super new. The premise of it is for people who do extensive knowledge work in the areas of finance, science, policy, engineering, and the need for thorough, precise, and reliable research. Think of this, the engine, the processing, now looking at all of the scientific journals, all of the work that's going on within that academic space, being inclusive just to that piece that you can ask it the generative questions, just like we talked about with the medical, research piece, we can actually say, I'm in the medical field, only look at that domain. Pull from me that knowledge corpus, what you have, and give me that list of answers. So that's happening right now as we go. So it's really this space that you can go in, think of just like your old ERIC libraries, databases that you may have gone into a library to search for. That was GeoRef is one that I spent time in. The same thing that's publicly available, open to anybody that's interested in research, using that same sort of dialogue capability. Ask a question, get a response. Whittle it down, get another one, continue to go and go. And it's all cited.
Oh.
Yes, huzzah. Okay, so with that, I am 1 minute over. Pause for questions. Thank you for coming in. If you want to stop by, I love talking. If you haven't got, what makes things even worse is Fisher's Cafe is on the first floor, so we can coffee and talk. I'm at the Staten Island Commons. Not been in the building. Welcome to stop by anytime. Say you know me, and look for my students. They're the loud, obnoxious ones. They're very easy to be seen. And say this guy told me to come in and get a tour. Happy to show you off. It's a fantastic building for the community.
Cool.
And,
Can I ask a question
yes.
though? Like all of this, so as people are learning things, or like students who are still in school, are they gonna not have to know as much stuff? Like down the road, can you see, obviously computers are smarter than we are, but is that gonna wind up kind of stifling people's creativity because they won't have to know how to do Excel because they can just.
So this is a loaded question.
You see what I'm saying? Like I'm just thinking about, I used to be able to do long division in my head.
Yeah, sure.
I can't do that anymore because I've got a calculator in my hand all the time.
Great. So there's a trade-off here. So a little bit about me. I am in front of you. I am not a trained computer science person. I taught myself everything I know, more or less. I graduated Juniata with a degree in geology. Left the area, went into a master's program in geology, in a really cool area of geology, which would probably put you all to sleep, but I love it. Got done, and in the process of that, started doing instructional work with computer-based learning. So I just happened on it serendipitously, and I went, ooh, I can do this and be impactful here, and instead of just talking to 5 students in a lab, I get to talk to 200 and impact their learning. That's fantastic. And then I went into a series of other pieces and parts. So I have a very strong opinion on learning as a whole. I think it really goes back to this fundamental research, even though we do it different ways. I don't run to the library anymore when I get to look something up. I actually sit at home in my pink fuzzy bunny slippers and go out to the college website and say search for the articles. But the way that I put that together and synthesize that information is the same way that I did it 30 years ago. It hasn't changed. I think one of the things that's really, really important right now is we are planning and trying to prepare students and even whatever grade in education for literally jobs that don't exist, and we can't even speculate now what it may be. The purport of all of this generative AI is if I can take a group of folks, maybe their job is replaced by that simple, can I get the answer faster? Part of that is the supply and demand. People are impatient right now. I want it now. I can tell you my phone's going off 20 times right now because somebody wants to meet with me now. I'm here. This is fun. What's going to be paramount is how do you synthesize the information? How do you put it together? Because we're still not there with that as you said, the creativity piece, the idea of I can take this plus this and get to that solution, and that humanistic side of things, just like me talking to you right now, is that maybe, I think I'm pretty skillful at it, you may not, but to be determined, is that's what value in the marketplace, and we need to put that emphasis back on this humanistic side of things that we may have gotten away from because we thought you have to sit in front of the computer. Is the next way that you come up to be the next job in that spot. In your example of math, I won't admit this, but we won't. So delete this from the recording. fell in love with math later in life. During the time I was there, I was not pro math at all. I would say you're now able to do more complex things with math than you were at that time than sitting and wrapping your head around long division. Because you can do it right here. You've got that cognitive space now that you can replace that with something else that you may not have been too transfixed on the long division. The question is, just like calligraphy and the arts, one of the keys to art is when we look at something, that is our way that we're able to look the world through someone else's eyes. Empathy, have a discussion about it. Do you feel the same thing and come up with those types of, is that still valued? I think so. And are we able then to slip and slide with that to replace some of those skills and other things with technology? So I don't know that anyone has a really good answer, but I think that there's a shift now when we saw the focus being a lot of the technology skills. Now starting to ramp up saying, no, we really need to focus on the creativity side of things, this humanistic side of, I don't know if we'll get there because who knows what wave we're going to come in. This launched in 2022. I no longer go into a class and go, you can find the answer, and you all can do it right here, probably faster than what I can do it. What I can tell you is, I want you to, instead of writing me a 10-page paper, your job is, I'd use this, I want you to do a video every night, reflection of the work that you did. I don't care where you get the information, because if you can get it through ChatGPT, I want you to think about the material. And the way that I do that is, can you give me a video? Can you record yourself with an audio file? You still have to read through the information. It's a different game. Can I put you in a project where instead of talking about the 10-point question that will say, can you build a business? Your job this semester is to build a business. And I'm going to guide you through the business. And we're going to do it as a game. So just minute role-playing game. And we're going to put it as a role-playing game. And when I roll these dice and you come up snake eyes, you lose everything. Bankrupt. Go. Just like the old game of life that we do. Is that a better use of what we need to connect?
I think critics are really just Luddites, that there's nothing to be concerned. Are Luddites that we're
No. So I think what's going to happen is, and this has been an interesting thing, and you can see even from last year to this year and the years prior, some of this technology we don't have control over. So ChatGPT, that program where they would write the response, came up and said, here you have this another way that you can sort of interact and interface and gain information. Microsoft, Adobe, Google very quickly said, wait a minute, if we can put that into our applications, whoa, that just helped people. We might be able to sell more products. And you're seeing that with a lot of these different, even homegrown solutions or things that are specific to, think about that with real estate. You could be able to type that back and forth with key pieces and put it together. Automotive industry. So they've adopted some of that technology, and they're just, I don't know how schools are going to stop a lot of this from coming out, because it's so ingrained right now, you just can't remove it other than say, and some faculty, I know at the college have done this, when you come in to take your exam, there's this piece of technology that we used, I still have nightmares about, called the Blue Book. And congratulations, you get to, let me introduce you to the Blue Book, and I want you to write it all out. Yeah.
I worked at college for 30 years, and we would, in orientation, we would have the students read an article, and then it was to find out what kind of English section they wanted to be in.
Reading capability.
Right. So they would write out a paragraph or two regarding the paragraph they read. We could not read their writing.
Yep.
They had no punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
They had no capitalization.
Sure.
They had no idea of spelling.
Right.
It was abominable.
So, and this is
really.
And this is where I think the other spot, just trying to give you a full picture, especially coming out of COVID right now. Not to say that we learned a lot. we did a lot of really interesting things during COVID. There's also a regression that happened with a lot of this. So I would purport that a lot of the higher education institute folks are actually doing more recovery and remediation for many of the core skills that you all know and love, grammar.
This is before
Well,
COVID,
even
though.
before
This is
COVID. I'm saying now it's
You
exacerbated
could not
that much
read
more.
anything that you're reading.
And it's not to say that that's good or bad. It's just to say that's kind of the space that they're in. And you know, there's a cost with that. So if you're going to college thinking that you're going to have this brave new world of knowledge, and all of a sudden you're still going back to your advanced calculus class learning what pre-calc is, it's just this really interesting ebb and flow right now. And then the trade-off for that is, can I give you an application that can help you solve that and advance you? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no.
I have one quick
Yes.
question. Well, hopefully. There was talk months and months ago about, was China had something to
Yeah, it's
do
called
with...
DeepSeek. So what's happened is the U.S. has had a corner market. ChatGPT originated in the U.S. They also have a company called NVIDIA, and in their chips and processing capability, they were spent fortune, more money than what probably you and I will ever see on developing that technology. So China, at the meantime, was developing similar type technology. Their engine back here, way back to the beginning, this guy that does all of the chugging proved to be more accurate and faster than the AI that was built here. And that's when everybody went, we're behind. And they did it in stealth mode. And then to also change the whole dynamic of the game, they turned around and said, not only did we build the processing GPUs, CPUs that you did from NVIDIA, we did it over here, and we did it for a fourth of the cost. Whoa. That's when the mic drop moment happened. And for us in the States, if you followed the stock market, that is at the point when NVIDIA, Intel, and all of the major companies that we house here, their stocks dove. That got everybody's attention because we're now behind the 8 ball piece. So that was the buzz on it, and you know, the question then was, because of China's restrictions, is if you're using this DeepSeek technology, does it live in China? Will you be able to, if there's some sort of legality? That's one of the pieces when you work with. You're basically, when the machine leaves a country and it goes to another country, technology-wise, it falls under the governance of the country that it's in at that point. So if you have some sort of interaction that you cause legal ramification, you can't extract that information because you're under the rules that are bound in China, which is you're not getting it. That's government property. Yeah.
I just have one other thing about the crime thing and the grandfather.
Thank you all.
About the grandfather thing where they were telling the kids are saying that they are in trouble and things like that, and the crooks got $8.5 million from grandparents, and the average age was 80 years old that they retrieved. And what they suggested was, when you get these calls, they're very, very realistic. You sound like a person, but stop and call the person, call the family first before you get forced into it, and call the family, make sure that it is really true, and then go from there.
You know, we've
Don't
talked a
fall
little
for
bit,
it.
I don't know, so again, had some conversations about, you know, what's the role of Satin Learning Commons, do we do some community service events like this? I think anytime that you have the opportunity to go out and take